Welcome to the Wisdom of Women show. We are dedicated to amplifying the voice of women in business. A new model of leadership is emerging, and we are here to amplify the voices of women leading the way. I am your host, Coco Selman, five-time founder, impact investor, and creator of the Force for Good system. Thank you for joining us today as we illuminate the path to unlocking opportunities and prosperity for women-led enterprises by amplifying the voice and wisdom of women. Today, we have a prosperity pathfinder in our midst. Kelly Resendez is a transformational business strategist, president of Menrva, and a senior leader at GoodLeap, a multi-billion-dollar fintech company, which she's helped architect growth at scale across purpose-driven organizations. As the founder of Go Abundance Women and best-selling author of Big Voices, she has built a global platform empowering women to break through self-sabotage, claim their voice, and create lives of true abundance. At the forefront of femtech innovation, Kelly is helping lead Menrva's mission to reimagine women's midlife healthcare through AI-powered personalized solutions that close critical gaps in care and unlock both health and economic potential. She blends mindset mastery with business strategy, guiding founders and leaders to transcend limitation, align intention with action, and build companies of meaning, scale, and lasting impact. It is a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for being here, Kelly.
I am so excited to be here, Coco. Thanks for having me.
So tell us, what is a book written by a woman that has significantly influenced your life?
What is a book that's written by a woman? I would definitely, there are so many that I've really just been able to enjoy, but I would say The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown made a huge impact because I didn't realize how many other women were in recovery from perfectionism like myself. And once you break free of that and you start to realize that, it is in our imperfections that we really get to shine, just like a diamond, right?
It's a great book, and I'm so glad you brought it up. The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. So, Kelly, I always like to find out more about who our guests are by asking you to tell us about three moments in your life that have shaped who you have become as a human, as a leader, as a mother, as a CEO. What are three important moments in your life that you look back on and see how it brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, I would say the first moment was definitely, I was actually in high school and I was able to start working at a bank. Before that, I'd been working in a restaurant. And the moment in which I started working for the bank and realizing that, man, wealth is something that we have to really create. And just being in that environment, I ended up staying there for 16 years and becoming a top producing loan officer with that company. But that moment of deciding that I was going to invest in my career at an early age was super defining. A lot of people go to college and they wait before they start to get I would just say the wisdom and the expertise that's found in the work environment. And so that was huge, pivotal. The second one, I was actually in the bathtub with my daughter in late 2003. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I was present. I wasn't performing. I wasn't trying to be perfect. I was just fully present in that moment with her. And that started me down a personal growth journey that is never ending. There's no completion. When I hear people say they're healed, I believe that we're always healing from any and all things that have ever happened to us. And that was super pivotal because it unlocked this growth mindset where before I think I was definitely more fixed and has allowed me to create a lot of the tools and strategies that I end up sharing with other people. And then the third moment was making a decision to give up the identity of being a top producing loan officer and taking a risk on a company that I'm still with today. I'm just part-time, but have been with them now close to 16 years. And, just giving that up when you're a top producer and everybody is like, you're the it girl in the industry. And I walked away from all of it because I knew that my purpose wasn't really aligned with what I was doing. I was good at what I did.
Yeah.
I was making an exorbitant amount of money, but I wasn't really aligned fully. And so joining Good Leap in May of 2011 was just the start of something that was absolutely magical and has allowed me to impact so many more women than I would have been able to had I stayed in that previous career.
I love this because you've got this early moment working at a bank where you suddenly, so much of what you have developed in your life is the ability to create prosperity and to teach about prosperity. So, right from the beginning, and then at the same time, sort of those moments of being with your daughter and the beauty of that kind of abundance, that kind of prosperity, not performing, not trying to be perfect. And there again is that connection to Brene Brown. And also, then I think for us as high achievers, we at some point have to face our identities and
Yeah.
let go of the thing we thought
Yeah.
was who we were in order to grow into the thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And when you really get down to all these identities that we create, whether it's mother, whether it's top performer, whether it's executive, which I've had to really let that go to now do Menrva, is they're all micro deaths, right? The person that I was yesterday is not the person that I am today. And one of the greatest laws that I've practiced has been detachment. And I think we can actually become detached and yet still hold on to an identity. So when you have a full release of any and all identities, whether it's mother, executive, founder, dog owner, whatever identity it is, daughter, any of those things, and we actually strip ourselves down to almost nothingness so that our ego is no longer making the decisions that don't serve us. Because the one thing I learned early on was how to create worldly success, right? How to create money in the 3D world, how to create a lot of value and prosperity. But what we don't talk often about is like, what does that internal wealth look like? What does internal success feel like when we don't have the external world as a mirror to reflect back to us? And when we get to that state of like, I am enough and I am worthy and I don't need external proof, man, is it free? Is it freedom?
That's the ultimate freedom, really, right? And so I'm curious, talk to us about you wear many hats, and one of the reasons why I am so intrigued and excited to learn more about how you do this is like you really have several things going on,
Yeah,
and you've been able to do that for a long time. You have GoBundance that's
mhm,
going, and you have a team that runs and leads a big part of that.
yeah,
You have a startup, Menrva, that's really doing great, that has a really big vision and doing cool stuff. And you also are involved in these other things. So, talk to us about your journey to being sort of a portfolio entrepreneur
yeah.
and why you've made those decisions and how it all works for you.
Yeah, so I think the first decision that I made many years ago was that I was not going to work to build other people's wealth. So many people do. When I have conversations with people that are struggling, I'll ask them, like, do you have ownership in the company? Like, there is a part of like when you're a business owner and you have ownership that there's definitely struggle. But if I'm making somebody else money, like that's a different story. Like, I'm not going to give them my health. I'm not going to give them my wealth or my time or my abundance and help somebody grow that. And so I also had to do a lot of digging into my own personality. I've recognized that I love variety. I have had to recognize that when that variety becomes a burden, which a lot of people feel like the variety is a burden and they haven't actually been able to orchestrate their life in a way in which they get the variety and they still feel powerful. That's
Mhm.
really what I've focused on. And so when I joined Good Leap in 2011, I was walking away from a very successful career in mortgage, and I was very honest with the founders that I love variety. I live to support women and I want to do these other things. And they were very open to me doing that. And so it took a while to really realize, like, okay, well, I want to support women at the highest level. And the reason why, it is nothing against men, but women are so powerful. We're the nurturers, we're the ones that think a little bit differently and
Mhm.
outside of the box. And so I realized that I want to hit it from every angle. So when I think about, Go Abundance Women, it's an environment in which high achievers feel like they're not too much. A lot of people feel like they're not enough. And then there's a lot of women that feel like they're too much. And we have friendships, but we don't have people that challenge us and maybe encourage us to think bigger or get us where we want to go faster because we know that our network is invaluable. And who and who I know, we were introduced by somebody else. Well, that's part of that network and that ecosystem. So Go Abundance was a part of that. And then, of course, Menrva, women have been imprisoned by some of the things that the Women's Health Study came
Yeah.
out with many
Yeah.
years ago and didn't have access to hormone replacement therapy or functional medicine or other things. And so Minerva, I know just this big piece, that's where my heart is. I want to help women stabilize their physical well-being and protect their longevity in those years in the end by making sure that they're supported. And then, Good Leap is just always going to be a part of my story, and that's why I continue to support that. But, beyond that, I do have other things too. I've
Mhm.
got a gut microbiome company. Well, I'm very passionate about the gut brain connection and how that works and how few of us even really recognize that. I have a program that helps authors and coaches and entrepreneurs with self-liquidating funnels because too many people write books and then they don't go anywhere. And
Yeah.
so I kind of tend to look at like my own life and my own journey, and I've been able to create business relationships and opportunities that really align with that. So I
Mhm.
think when we get to a place where we're so clear on our
Mhm.
purpose, and I'm big on morning rituals. I look at my purpose every single morning. It's how I inform every decision that I really make is I ask myself that question, like, is this aligned with my purpose? And do I have the human capacity for greatness to take it on?
Oh,
And if I
amazing.
do, and I'm really clear, like what I give to some of the companies, they know exactly what my capacity is still to be at that place because we don't want to get to burnout because we have too much variety. We want to get to alignment because we know like there's going to be something that's really amazing that's going to come from this. So I think we all have a different purpose. And one person might be supporting this, and one person might be supporting that. But where I don't want to see women go with variety is distraction. So there's a big
Yes.
difference between purpose and distraction. And a lot of us distract ourselves and then we take our eye off of one thing and that goes down. And now I'm in scarcity because financially I'm not able to support myself. So we want to be really clear about what our vision is for our life, that 5 year vision, that 10 year vision, and only say yes to the things that are really going to get us there and not distract ourselves from the deeper work of like, there have been times where I've had ideas and then I've realized like, oh, this is just a distraction, or a
Yes.
relationship is a distraction, or a friendship is a distraction from really what I want. So I use my nervous system as a guide. And if my nervous system is happy, then I know I'm in a good place. If I've
Yes. Yes.
overcommitted and all of a sudden I'm feeling something that different than getting outside of my comfort zone, this is more like, oh my gosh, I have too many competing priorities now that I can't be in my zone of genius and at my
Yes.
highest capacity for greatness.
Well, I love this. so much because that's exactly your conversation about purpose. And, if you're a founder who is stuck in the details of every single bit of their business and delivering the service and marketing and sending the invoices and taking the customer service calls, if you're doing all of that, I'm
Mhm.
sure the sound of having multiple businesses, it would just makes your head explode,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And what you also talked about, zone of genius. And
Yeah.
so I wonder if you'd share with us a little bit about how you are using this. Like, tell us about your purpose, if you're
Yeah.
willing, and where you see your zone of genius and how this plays itself out in the roles that you're with these
Absolutely.
variety of organizations that you're a part of, that you're an
Yeah,
owner.
yeah. So, there's so many different ways to look at zone of genius, but where I think most people fall short in their career is they look at their skill set.
Yeah.
And whether you went to college or you've been in a role that you're really good at, like there
Mhm.
are a lot of things that I'm really good at, but they don't light me up inside. And
Yes.
so, where I really see the intersection where our zone of genius is where our purpose, so for mine, is really just to help people increase joy and reduce self-suffering. I'm a country girl that basically was raised by an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, and I wasn't abused and I didn't have challenges, but did I suffer? 100%. My suffering came internally, right? It was the need to be perfect or people pleasing or just doing all of those things. And so when I really look at my purpose, I know that my story can be
Mhm.
transformational for other people because they might be able to relate to it. So that purpose combines with a lot of the skills that I have, or maybe my God-given gifts. So
Mhm.
I am a communicator. I have a very powerful presence, and that's with all the humility in the world. I can step on a stage, I can get on a podcast, I can lead a meeting. That's God, right? I
Yeah.
came out this way. That was not something that I developed or whatnot. And so a lot of that is a combination between skills I've developed and skills I was given. So I take that purpose with that skill set, and then I really look at my vision. Does it align? Like, I have friends whose vision is to impact millions and millions of people. And then I have other people in my life that that's not part of their vision. And there's no wrong or right. It
Mhm.
just is what it is. And so when all of those things really come together and we look at our zone of genius, it really is that place where we love what we're doing and we know it's making an impact. And it's also, the person that we are 5 years from now is going to say, "Thank you, Kelly.
Mhm.
Thank you for making those decisions." Sometimes, sometimes it can be a struggle.
Of
Like
course.
right now, I'm coming back from 2 weeks back to back travel. My schedule is full.
Mhm.
My list is long,
Mhm.
but they're all things that I love doing. So it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is where I think, from a strategy standpoint, God gifted me with the ability to be highly empathetic. So I can feel energy at a super high level. I can see energy and I can see a field of connection. So whether it's connecting you with this person or that person or a business opportunity or whatnot, it's just the way that my world works is I can see all of those things together. A lot of people can't see that.
Right.
So that's not
Right.
something I can teach somebody. It just
Mhm.
is, whether it's clairvoyant or
Mhm.
energy or whatever it is, like that's kind of my zone of genius, is to be able to say, like, you know what, this is something that I do really well. For another person, they might be an operator. Like
Yes.
we're
Yes.
all
Mhm.
different. Like just look at where you really love, not just what you're good at. Because where I see women, especially in their late 40s and early 50s, get to is, I've been doing the same thing really well, but I'm not lit up inside. Like I'm
Yeah.
not excited about what it is that I'm doing. And that's
Mhm.
where we need to give ourselves permission to get really curious about what's possible. Like, what else is possible? What else could I do? And so when I have conversations with women, a lot of times I ask them very blunt questions
Mhm.
because their first answer is going to be like so informational,
Mhm.
right? Like I was talking to a woman earlier. I'm like, what do you really want? She's like, I want to quit my job. And
Mhm.
then 20 minutes into the conversation, she starts talking about a renegotiation with the person that she works with. And I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Mhm.
You
You
just,
want,
and so we need to put ourselves into those situations with people that will challenge us a little
yeah.
bit because we are like, our brain's really lazy. You know, I'm a
Yeah.
neuroscience junkie. I love it. Like it's my hobby, studying neuroscience and all the things that I can do to harness the power of my brain rather than my brain just living my life for me. And so we've got to challenge ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And you're right, like putting ourselves in the right situations. I see this happen with founders often where they become successful to a certain level in their
Yeah,
businesses. And then they're exhausted and they're
yeah,
burned out and they're controlling everything. So I feel like it's a similar thing, what you're talking about. It's where they haven't found their zone of genius
yeah.
and they're maybe they are really organized and maybe they are good at doing certain things in the business, but they're not letting everybody else have their zone as a genius and they're not allowing themselves to really elevate. Can you say a little bit about how you've been able to do that? Because I feel like there's a sort of chasm you have to leap
Yeah.
over in your experience to just let other people do stuff.
Yeah, so the first thing that I would say is that you need to differentiate yourself from being a founder to an owner op.
Mhm.
So a founder is somebody that has an idea or a problem that they want to solve with their business that they really want to scale. That's how I really look at a founder. An owner operator is somebody that works in a business that wants to make income. And
Mhm.
that's where I see most people are, right? And let's be honest, only 2 to 2.5%, I think the numbers just went down, of venture capital is going to female founders.
Yeah.
And so there's two reasons why that we could look at, just hypothetically speaking. Number one, women aren't as good at raising capital, or the people that are considering investing in them aren't wanting to invest in them, right? That's one thing. The
Mhm.
second option is that women aren't raising capital
Mhm.
because they want to do everything on their own and they don't realize the foundational things that you need in order to scale. And so I'm a founder, which means I have a big idea. Like at Menrva, we want to revolutionize women's healthcare. And if we could do it on our own, but we would be limited in terms of resources that I can invest in tech, in AI, in human capital to be able to get us to this next level. And so if you are a founder that has a problem that you want to solve and you know that there's a sizable market and you have a solution for it, like leverage is your power.
Yeah.
Leveraging capital, leveraging resources, and deciding clearly who do you want to be in the business? So,
Mhm.
and I can
Mhm.
wear multiple hats. So when
Yeah.
someone says, you know, like, what are you on the disc? What are you in these other things? I am, which I hate to use the word again, with all the humility in the world, I'm the unicorn that can go in any of those places because of the way that I see things. And
Mhm.
then I'm very resourceful in the sense that I might not be the one to create the SOP, but I know exactly what it should look like and I can inspect it and I can be able to do those things. So you've got to really decide who you want to be in the business. Now, we can all take on roles that we do for a period of time. Hell, we can hire human capital, but you
Yes.
need to have that ultimate job description. So one of the things that I do with people that are in curiosity, where they're like, I'm really not 100% sure, career wise, founder wise, owner operator wise, like what I really want to do. And I have them do an exercise and suggest that they just write their own job description.
Mhm.
What do you want to do every day? And how much time do you want to spend doing it? And then what do you want your hourly rate to be? Like, how much do you value yourself as? Because now I can start to make and build decisions for myself over time to be able to delegate, to be able to use automation, other things, because I want to get down to in my world, I only want to do a few good things that are in my zone of genius at a level of excellence. And
Mhm.
most of us just do a lot of things mediocre. And then
Yes.
we've got a to-do list that's endless, and we really don't know exactly where we're going. So for myself, that's exactly what I've done in every business that I've gone into is just decided like, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And where do I want to see my hourly rate? And then I start to do the work that I really want to. So for anybody listening, there's nothing wrong with being an owner operator. It's
Yeah.
different. If you are a founder, you want to look at equity value. You want to look at your growth rates. You want to look at what you really want to do and the impact that you want to make so that you can start to have conversations that are going to help you raise capital. And I get to talk to a lot of founders and look at a lot of pitch decks, being somebody that invests in businesses outside of my own and real estate deals and other things. I'm really passionate about that. The majority of people can't tell me what problem they want to solve. I'm like,
Yes.
you've got a beautiful 45-page pitch deck, but I still don't know what problem you're trying to solve. How many people need to have that problem solved? And then
Yep.
there's another question I go into. There are a lot of people that have experienced something that's a problem
Mhm.
for themselves, but other people don't know it's a problem for them. And
Yeah.
so it's like, do you want to be an education company? Because if they know it's a problem,
Right.
right? If they know it's a problem, it's easy. I've got a solution for you. If they
Mhm.
don't know it's a problem, it's a whole nother beast to be able to show them that this is a problem.
Yeah.
When you look at the two women in the world that have created unicorn-sized companies from a valuation standpoint of 1 billion, and you look at all of the problems that they've solved, like it's really clear.
It's
Like
so clear.
it is so clear. When you look at Spanx, that
Yeah.
was an easy one, right? That
Yeah.
is a problem for a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
women. I don't
We,
feel great when I'm in a dress
yeah.
or any of these other things. And so, with Menrva, we are solving the problem that women are muscling through midlife and not educating themselves on hormone replacement therapy and what an game changer it can be for you. And only 7% of women are on HRT today. And so I've got a 93% of women that fall into this category. And then any woman should be on it from a longevity standpoint. And so we know exactly what problem it is that we're solving with our technology and with our hormone replacement therapy. And when we talk to people that we're trying to get to invest in our company, it's super simple. They can understand it. If you can't articulate the problem, somebody's not going to invest in you. And if you don't have that pro forma pulled out and really where they can see the vision and feel your vision of what you're trying to accomplish, it becomes very challenging.
I could not agree with you more. We fall in love oftentimes with our companies, our products, and our solutions. And that is such a mistake because if we don't understand the problem, then we're focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're constantly telling everybody what our product is or service rather
Mhm.
than here's the problem.
Yeah.
And then everybody listens. And I think your notation about, well, I had a problem, but if nobody else sees that as a problem, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like just because you can't always assume what your problem is or the way
Yeah.
you see things is the way your customer is going to see them. And so it's that delicious product market fit. You've got to always tell my clients, and I see this with the work that you're doing, very clear health and wealth.
Yeah.
They're not vitamins, they're painkillers, right? We are
Yeah.
talking about things that wake you up in the night and make you worry.
Yeah.
And so one is like my business and my money, and one's like my well being, my health. And so I really appreciate that as a such super important piece for our listeners.
Yeah.
And
Well, let's be honest. Like, so 10% of Fortune 500 companies are run by women.
mhm,
We could look at discrimination. We could look at equality. We could
mhm,
look at so many different things that are external.
mhm.
And I believe that those external barriers can definitely shape us,
Sure.
but it is the internal ones that stop us.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not feeling powerful, well, of course, if my testosterone I know goes down over time in my 40s, and
Yes.
testosterone is going to be that power play, right? If my
Yes.
progesterone, which is going to keep me feeling balanced and helping me sleep at night, is going down, I'm going to get to be 48, the perfect time to apply for that C-suite role, the perfect time to start your own company because you've got all of this life experience behind you. I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. Is it
Yeah.
Saturday yet? When can I do these things? Like, no, that is where we've got to just stop
Yeah,
and
you're right.
start to realize,
You're
like,
right.
I mean, there are definitely conspiracy theories out there about why HRT was black boxed.
Ah.
We were starting to rise in the workforce, and boom, now we're seeing the effects in this generation of higher osteoporosis,
Mhm,
higher heart disease, higher Alzheimer's, higher breast cancer. The
mhm,
very reason why the Women's Health Study
mhm.
said that we should stop HRT was that it had an increased risk of breast cancer. And so you black box it, and now they've
Ah.
still gone up. I mean, we don't know the truth. And I'm not going to look backwards. I could spend all day talking about flawed data and the lack of research in the women's health space. I could talk about all these things.
Mhm,
I want
mhm.
to talk about how can
Yeah.
we educate women on really the best way that we can protect ourselves for the rest of our lives. We were not intended to live this long. Like, it kind of looks like we were intended to live as long as we could procreate. And the minute that we could stop, it's like over. And I'm not willing to live that way. And I
Yeah.
want to make sure that all women are educated on what options they have and then take their health into their own hands. You know, our technology will
Mhm,
be a personal co-pilot every day, not that every 6 months that you go to the doctor. Well, what happens in between? How
mhm,
can I help you fine tune using your wearables, your data, your
mhm,
symptoms, your nutrition, your sleep, all these other things? Fine tune a plan for you every day that's actionable and simple. Do
mhm.
quick things,
I
quick
love
things.
Where are you in your journey with Menrva, and when can we start? Right?
Oh, thank you. So we are in build mode. And so
Yeah.
today, as we have this conversation, we are launching our new telemedicine options in the next 30 days. And our technology will be out in the summer for all women, not ones you don't need to work with us on a telemedicine side. But yes, it's super exciting. So we're getting super close.
Oh, it's so exciting. And I love your passion about it and that there is such a clear need.
Yeah.
And women are, I'm right there. I'm 51 and started to do some estriol on my face. And I'm learning. It's like we need to have these places that we can talk about our well-being. And you talk about being tired, like the 3 o'clock, woo, right? You just,
Yep.
the exhaustion cliff. It's like, okay, we must need
Yeah.
something, right?
Well, one of the other shifts, which I know I only got three, I'm gonna add a fourth, came into my life actually with Brendan Burchard. I was with him in Las Vegas before he published High Performance Habits.
Uh-huh.
And one of the major shifts that he encouraged me to make was that most of us look at our energy like a gas tank. And when you shift to feeling like a power plant, it's all about energy generation and you start with nothing. So when you wake up, what are the things that I can do? I need to hydrate. My
Yeah.
hormones need to be balanced. I need to have a solid nutrition plan. All of these things that are able to take away the 3 o'clock. Like, we're not meant to wear ourselves out so that when we're with our family or doing the personal things that we love, that we don't have any energy
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you think about hormone balance, and my business partner, Dr. Benny Murray, is the leading hormone metabolism doctor in the nation.
Mhm.
And when people start to realize how important these things are, it is, I mean, it's
Oh,
a symphony. They are the messengers. And when the messenger is no longer there, that's what happens when we stop ovulating. A lot of signals get mixed up. And so if you want to experience joy, energy, power, like really just feel at your best while you're protecting your 70, your 80, your 90, your 100-year-old self because your bones are better.
Yes.
Like one of the
Yes.
leading causes of death is women that fall because of
Yeah.
fragility.
Yeah. Right.
Another thing we don't think about is sepsis, which comes from unnecessary UTIs because your
Yes.
body's not balanced. Like there are a lot of things that we don't think about. Heart disease. We talk so much about breast cancer when we're really at greater risk of heart
Heart
disease.
disease. Yeah.
And so we've got estrogen receptors in our heart, and the minute they're empty, like we're not as protected. So we want to educate ourselves. And one of the things that we do at Menrva is we have Menrva Lounge every Monday at 11 o'clock Pacific. Anybody can come in. Dr. Betty and I talk about all things hormone and women's health. And then we have open Q&A for 30 minutes for anybody to come in and just learn more. Our Menopause Mastery podcast is a great place to learn more as well. But when you're talking about female founders and you're
Yeah.
talking about impacting women's well-being, there's no greater place to start than our physical health, getting balanced, feeling in our best, because we're going to show up differently in the world when we do that.
Makes so much sense. It's great that you have a place for us to go and replenish our physical bodies. And then I also would just love you to tell us a little bit about GoBundance as
Yeah,
well, because that's like a whole other part of filling ourselves up. So what is
it is.
GoBundance?
Yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely. I love telling the story about GoBundance because, being an executive at a multi-billion dollar company when I was helped co-found GoBundance Women, I was really lonely. I felt very isolated. I had tons of friends. I had a big social life. I did a lot of things. I had published my first book, Big Voices. Like I was doing all the things, but I didn't have a group of women that really challenged and supported me. And that's where GoBundance came from. So we are a mastermind community of really high achieving women that want to make an impact, but they don't want to sacrifice their health and they don't want to sacrifice their relationships. So we put you into pods. I do business scaling calls once a week. We have group coaching where I focus on neuroscience. Like it is really just a place that you can feel like these are my people. Like these are the women that are going to help me get where I go so much faster. I met Dr. Betty. She was one of our speakers, then became a member, and now she is my co-founder in Menrva. And so there are a lot of synergistic relationships that are found there. And it is just one of those places that I know if you want to elevate your environment, it is an investment that will pay dividends for life.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So you're helping us with our ability to go into the world and achieve success and
100%.
prosperity. And then you're also working with another person, Dr. Betty, to help us all with our physical bodies. That's just world changing. Really, really
Yeah.
awesome. Really
I'm so
great.
excited about it.
Oh, Kelly, that's just inspiring. And I love that you're giving yourself the ability to do multiple things, which you and I share in that. You can do that. It doesn't have to be a way, like one thing only. As you build your companies, you can get to a
Yeah,
point where you can do multiple. So let's move into a fast fire round. Are you ready? 5 questions.
I'm ready.
All right. 5 questions in 5 words or less. So, what does abundance mean to you in one sentence?
Ooh, it's feeling more than enough.
Feeling more than enough. What's one habit that has most changed your life?
My morning ritual.
Love it. What are you currently saying no to in order to grow?
Anything out of alignment from my purpose.
Beautiful. What does a life of power, freedom, and joy feel like to you?
I don't even need words for that one. It feels magical.
Oh. And what does your big voice sound like in one sentence?
You are worthy.
You're worthy. Beautiful. So, how can our listeners and viewers learn more about you and
Yeah.
your companies?
So, first and foremost, if you're interested in women's health and finding out what Menrva is, you can just go to getmenrva.com, just GET. I just popped it in the chat for you. You can always pop over to kellyresendez.com. That's where all my books and resources. I do still speak a little bit as well because I love showing up for women wherever I need to meet them to be able to share that we can create whatever life we desire. But
Yeah.
we've got to be in our power to be able to do that.
And where do I find out? Where do the listeners find out about if they're writing a book and they're
Yeah.
wanting to grow their visibility?
Yeah, I would just suggest reaching out to me directly.
Great,
And
great.
so, yeah, the best thing to do would just be shoot me an email at resendez@goodleap.com.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. We'll put all of this in the show notes.
Yeah, and I think any founder should be focused on becoming that thought leader. They should be focused on becoming an expert because it does make, whether it's capital raising, speaking, or growing your business. And you can also use a book as part of your funnel to be able to grow your business as well. Dr. Betty and I have an amazing book coming out called Just Right in the next 30 days.
You're kidding.
Yep, all
Oh,
things hormones and health and power and big voices and all the things.
oh, that's wonderful. Well, we definitely want to elevate and promote that. I'll get the link from you so people
Yes.
can pick that up as well.
Awesome.
Well, I just thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us today on the Wisdom of Women show. Thank you for illuminating the path to unlocking opportunities for prosperity and growth for women-led enterprises. We value you. And to all of our world-changing listeners, be sure to follow, like, and share the Wisdom of Women show on whatever your favorite listening or viewing platform is. And don't forget to weave more of your wisdom into your community. Join me for the weekly Force for Good Masterclass. Each week we explore the core growth element and share a practical tool to help you install the Force for Good system inside your visionary business. Learn more and sign up at aforceforgood.biz/weekly-tool. The world is made better by women-led business. Let's go make the world a better place.